After our season petered out into a nothing, really, we were so close on many occasions last season, but we need to be better next season. Join me as we have an end of season review and transfer special as we look to see if we can improve and at least win something in our final season here at West Ham. Hello and welcome to episode 50 of Irons in the Fire as we try and make West Ham good and great again. My name's Mark, and on today's episode we have for you the end of season review for 24-25 and then a transfer special as we look to try and improve the squad to give us that little bit of extra oomph going into the new season and hopefully go one better in a few of the competitions and so on and so forth, and maybe even win the Champions League. That will finish off the series so well. On that point, this will be the finals. We enter it will be the final season on this series. The viewings have dropped, and unless they pick up dramatically, we're going to make this the last season and look for a new series post that. So yeah, if you do enjoy or you have enjoyed this series, leave me that big thumbs up. Of course, subscribe, hit the notification button. That will keep you up to date with everything that's going on. And also you can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at JustOffside2, and that will keep you up to date with everything that's going on this channel, including our other series. And of course, you can leave me a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see me do next here on the channel. Right. With that all said and done, let's get on with it and have a look at what we've got coming up. I think we'll obviously recap on the league in due course, but obviously we finished second, close run behind Manchester City. More about that in a short while, and obviously we'll do the deep dive into the league like we usually do. Transfer-wise, just checking in. Nobody coming in. Upper Meccano was the last one in January, along with Wagnerman and Tammy Abraham and Shalaga. So we brought a lot in the January window. Spent quite a lot of money there as well. Our total transfers so far, 24-25, 358 million in. 106 million out, so a fairly hefty deficit there, shall we say. Yeah, we're going to need to do a bit of moving around, I think, is what is coming, and we'll look into that, as I say, later in the episode. Right, let's get on with it then. I think it's time that we actually had the end of season review, which we should be able to find here somewhere. We'll find it in a moment. We'll do the end of season review then, and we'll come back and do a deep dive into the table. So here we are with the end of season review for 24-25. And as always, we start with the new arrivals. Josh Wagnerman came in from Stuttgart for 39 million, made 17 appearances, 3 from the bench. Scored 3 goals, but better still, made 7 assists, so contributing to 10 goals, a 7.30 for him. Lazar Samadic coming from Udinese for £18 million, 27 appearances, 21 from the bench, 16 goals. He scored 15 assists. That's 31 goals that he's had working, 7.24. For him, so very good return. Got an A+, an A- for Wagnerman, A+ for Samadic. Jean-Claire Todibo got an A+ as well. £41 million from Nice, 48 appearances, 10 from the bench, 9 goals, 1 assist, 7.14. And then we brought in Tammy Abraham from Roma, C+, Yeah, not sure that the board over endeared with him. 59 million, 21 appearances, 7 from the bench, 12 goals and 1 assist, a 7.12. And then our star man coming in, but he's only got a B, which doesn't make any sense, does it? Ilan Mazulia came in from Monaco, 27.5 million, made 37 appearances, basically become the number one goalkeeper over the top of Areola. 1 appearance from the bench, no goals, no assists, a 7.05. And then we had Fabiano Parisi come in from Fiorentina, 55 million, 40 appearances, 8 from the bench, 1 goal and 6 assists, a 7 rating. And then a couple of other players in there. Xavier Schalager, a C plus, a RB Leipzig, 30.5 million, 23 appearances, 3 from the bench, 3 goals, 7 assists, contributing 10 goals at 6.95. I think he could have probably done a little bit better, but we maybe haven't seen the best of him yet. And then finally, Dayot Upamecano coming from Bayern Munich, 69 million, 21 appearances, 1 from the bench, 2 goals, 2 assists, a 6.94. Players there that we expect to see a little bit more of again next season. So there we go. Going out, we've had Alvarez left us for Al Hilal for 68 million. Ben Johnson went for 35 million to Al Hilal, both in the Saudi Arabian leagues. Both done extremely well as well. A 7.89 for Alvarez and a 7.31 for Ben Johnson. The rest not done so quite as well. Anang went to Stoke for 140 million, made 10 appearances, 6.98. Freddie Potts went to Burnley for 7.25. Flynn Downs went to Southampton for 14 million, made 34 appearances there, so he's got himself in there. Connor Coventry went to Birmingham on a freebie, 17 appearances, 20 from the bench. Danny Ings went to Fulham for 2.6 million, 5 appearances, 16 from the bench, 3 goals. And Fabrinsky went to Legia Warsaw, made 18 appearances and didn't have such a good time. 40 years old now is Fabrinsky. Right, what's happened? As we know, the league, as I say, we'll do a deep dive in this one at the in a moment. Bald pleased that team challenged for the Premier League. It was just a bit dismal come the end, and as it turned out, that draw against Liverpool is the one that did us. Had we won that game against Liverpool, we would have won the Premier League that season, but missing out by 1 point in the end to Manchester City. But having said all of that, that is our highest finish. And the other thing to note is the last time we lost in the Premier League was December 29th December against Manchester City, a 3-0 loss at the the Etihad Stadium. Since then, in the Premier League, we've drawn a couple or 3, but we've not lost any games. A complete run towards the end of the season there, and not suffering a loss. Not many clean sheets, but we've not suffered losses, which is extremely good news. Champions League wise, we knocked out in the semi-final, a very close match against Paris Saint-Germain. It come down to extra time in the end, and we lost 3-2 in the second leg. Beat them 2-1 in the first leg. It ended up 4-4 on aggregate. Did it come down to? I can't remember whether it came down to penalties in the end or not. Well, what did we do? 4. It's 4-4 on aggregate. Hang on, how did this work? It says 3-2 on there. I think, but that's not showing the extra time. They actually won it 4-2. Yeah, I was just wondering. I was thinking that doesn't work out. But yes, that should show 4-2. They won it in extra time. and knocked us out and sent us reeling. The ball were pleased that we reached the semi-final of the Champions League. Got an A- for that. The FA Cup, we were trying to retain the FA Cup. Again, knocked out in the semi-final. Close. It was one of those. Against Manchester United, we lost them by a 1-0 in the end. Again, it's only showing the full-time score. 1-0 in extra time, was it? Yes, it was extra time goal. 114 minutes. Martinez getting the goal there. So again, hearts broken in the semi-final. The Carabao Cup, we runners up. We lost in the final again to Manchester United. Again, extra time. Again, it came down to that goal. A C+ for this one. Which is a bit disappointing. And the Community Shield, we won't talk about it. We lost on the opening game of the season 3-1 to Manchester City. So you can say we were very fine margin. Premier League, we missed out by a point. We went to extra time in the Champions League semi-final. We went to extra time in the FA Cup semi-final. We lost in the final of the Carabao Cup. It's an almost season. But one that is probably very, very annoying. Close, but not close enough is the story of our season. The biggest win was the UEFA Champions League. It was a 6-0 drumming of Shakhtar. Parisi, Todibo, Souček, Watkins getting a hat-trick. 59, 69 and 88. I think he came on as a substitute, actually, and turned that game on its head. The other game to remember was back in December. Was a 2-0 win over Liverpool at Anfield. James Ward-Prowse from the penalty spot and Souček after 55 minutes giving us that win. The goal of the season, that came from James Ward-Prowse. He scored a thumping free kick from 26 metres out in that one, right 2 minutes into injury time. Let's have a quick look at that one. James Ward-Prowse, and there it is, in off the post. And that was goal of the season. I'm sure there were better goals than that. You know, I don't know who picks these out here in this thing, or whether it's just a random FM Football Manager choosing the random one. I don't know. Our club reputation stays the same. No changes, no sponsorship deals, no notable other deals going on. Our broadcast revenue was up slightly. Our sponsorship was up slightly. Broadcast revenue was down slightly. Corporate hospitality up. Competition prize money up. That's because we got further in those competitions. And our much day commercial and retail was up by about £1 million. Total merchandise sales 15.02. 130,000 shirts sold. And the shirts that went particularly well were Kamada, Bowen, Samadic, Ward-Prowse and Tammy Abraham. This is how the team of the season lines up. Mazulia in goal, Emerson, Zuma, Todibo, Soufal across the back there. The Vagaman not appearing in here, which is rather interesting. Kahera, James Ward-Prowse and Souček in midfield. Samadic sitting behind Watkins and Bowen up front. Abraham doesn't make the team either. Accolades for the season. We won Premier League Manager of the Month in February and March. Didn't win it early part of the season, which was rather interesting. And also Premier League Manager of the Year, despite not winning the Premier League. So that says a lot about how close we came, really, in the reality of things. Other awards, club awards. Samadic, best rating 7.2. Youngest player of the season. Young player of the season, Lazia Samadic. Ilham Mazulia was a signing of the season. James Ward-Prowse had the goal of the season. We've seen it. Not that we think it's the goal of the season. Gerard Bowen was top scorer on 23. Samadic, most assists on 15. Soufal, most player of the match awards on 5. And Samadic had the highest rating at 7.2. Most passes completed in 90 minutes. Kurt Zuma completed 50 in that. And the highest transfer fee paid was for Samadic, £70 million. No competition awards to be shown. Talk Sport, Brandon Smith said a remarkable season for West Ham, started superbly and never let up. What a season they had. And in the Daily Star, Brandon Payne said West Ham looked a class above in the first couple of months of the season. Few will have expected this outcome, but they gave themselves a chance and have reaped the rewards. Not really. Let's face it, Brandon. We could have done a little bit better. We're not going to feature that. We're going to have a look at that at a future date. We are on the 20th of May in game. We're going to come back on the 1st of July. We'll bring you up to date with the transfers at that point in time. And we will also have a look at what our opening fixture list looks like and who will be playing on the opening games of the season. In fact, the opening episode of the new season as well. So we'll come back for that. Lots of stuff going on. We'll get on with it. We'll come back on the 1st of July. And so here we are on the 1st of July. And as you'll see, we do have the new kits in for the new season. If you want to know how to put kits into your FM24, then look for the video. You'll find the link. I'll put the link below as well in the description. There's a video where I explain how to get the kits into it and using a bit of software called Kit Basher if you've never used before. And the other thing, keep an eye out. We will be doing some videos very shortly. I'm trying to get ahead a little bit with Easter and stuff in the way. But we'll be getting some videos out. And one of those I want to do on a Weymouth safe is I want to put a third kit in. So I'll be showing you how to add a third kit into here using the editor as well. So anyway, that's coming up in future. And keep an eye out for that. And the best way, as I said before, to make sure you don't miss anything is to hit the notification button. But also follow me on X, and that will keep you up to date then when anything is coming out, specials and all the rest of it. Right. We will have a look at the schedule. The new fixtures are out. We'll be having a look at that very, very shortly. As you'll see, we have some friendlies coming up. We're taking a trip to Austria for our pre-season training camp. That all coming up in due course. But what we tend to like to do here first is have a look at the table, which actually we need to go back, don't we? To last season, which we will do this way. Here we go. Right, so this is how the table finished then. Manchester City were top on 88 points. We were a very close second on 87. As I said before, it all came down. In the end, it came down to nothing more than a draw against Liverpool about 3 games out. And had we not drawn that game, we would have passed Manchester City at the top of the table there. They won 27 games, same as us. They drew 1 more game than us. We lost it, they drew it, and that was the difference in the season, basically, what it came down to. They had 91 goals for, we had 93. They had 35 goals against, we had 34. So again, we beat them on goal difference, but there wasn't much in it. 2 goals more. And we let in 1 goal less than they did. And that was the 3 goal difference between us and their goal difference. Two top scorers and goal difference in the league. Liverpool coming a close third. Well, I say close. 8 points off of Manchester City, 7 points off us. 38 games, of course, played, 80 points. Then came Arsenal in 4th on 78. Manchester United were 5th on 74, and then Aston Villa finishing a very, very good 6th place on 71. Crystal Palace finishing 7th on 58, and Chelsea in 8th place, which did quite well because they were quite low at one point. We'll have a look in a bit how their season developed, but they finished on 57 points, well adrift of us at the top, but their season did pick up somewhat. Interestingly, there are 5 Champions League places, an extra one for somebody this season. Manchester City, well, in fact, there'll be 6 because Manchester City will be in the Champions League as well. 1 Europa League place going to Crystal Palace and 1 Europa Conference League going to Chelsea. So European football, despite their poor season, really. Wolves, Burnley and Brighton getting relegated. Brighton on the bottom on 23 points, 16 points adrift of Norwich, who finished in 17th place. Wolves just missing out, well, I say just by 8 points, and then Burnley sort of in between the two of them. Right, let's have a bit of a deeper dive into here then. Home records. We had the best home record. 50 points at home, just lost that one game at home. That game to Everton, a 3-2 loss in the season. 57 goals scored at home, only 15 goals conceded at home. That's quite a record. There's only one team that actually did better at home at conceding, and that was Manchester United. Only conceded 13 goals at home all season. We conceded 4 against Manchester City, 3 against Everton, and 1 each against Manchester United, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Tottenham, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, Brentford and Chelsea. Not bad going, really, was it? That was a goal difference of 42, so did extremely well there. So Manchester City were in second, Arsenal third, Manchester United fourth, Liverpool fifth, Aston Villa sixth. That's the home record. Brentford, Burnley and Brighton are the ones not doing so well at the bottom. Wolves, actually, their home record wasn't too bad, as it turned out. Away records, we were second best in away records. Not so good on the road. We lost 4 times on the road. The Etihad Stadium, away at Villa Park against Aston Villa, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and Old Trafford were the 4 places that we lost. 19 goals scored on the road. Not so good, but then you wouldn't expect that away from home. 17 goals conceded on the road. 37 points gained, 3 points behind Manchester City, who only lost once on the road all season. So incredibly good record away from home. That 2-0 loss to Chelsea. So they don't lose many, and especially on the road. Wolves, Burnley and Brighton in the bottom there. Liverpool were third, Arsenal fourth. So pretty much as the league finished was how the away record performed. Right, last 5 games of the season. Last 5 games of the season, Chelsea having the best run in. 1-4, drew 1, lost none. 14-4 against, 10 goal difference. 13 points they picked up in their last 5 games. Liverpool picking up 13 points. We picked up 13 points. Aston Villa, Manchester City and Newcastle only picking up 10. Burnley picking up nothing, losing 5 straight on their last 5. Now, normally, and it's not on here, I think I might just have to go back. Normally, we would see first half and second half of the season. I'm just going to go and see if I can find that a second. Right, I think I've sorted it out now. I've gone back to the 1st of June. I think probably what I should have done was done the deep dive in the 1st of June. But there we go. So that was the last 5 games. First half of the season, Manchester City were better. 19 games played. They had a 10-point advantage over us in the early part of the season. We were second on 39. Arsenal were right behind us on 39. Then came Manchester United, Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest. They dropped away, didn't they, really, Nottingham Forest? Liverpool were down here somewhere. That's at 2, 4, 6, 7th. Liverpool 7th best at halfway stage on 33 points. And Chelsea 9th on 27 points at that point. Burnley, Wolves and Brighton were in the drop zone even then. Second half of the season, we were better in the second half of the season by a point over Liverpool. Manchester City dropped away a little bit. So we gained a sort of 9-point advantage over them in the second half, only losing once in the second half of the season, as you'll see. They had a bit of a torrid time that second half, losing 4 times. 39 points for them and Arsenal. And as you'll see, Chelsea down here. Second half of the season, Nottingham Forest having a very poor. I mean, considering how well they had a good first half, second half of the season, they only won 3 times, picked up 11 points and finished 11th overall. Could have been catastrophic had they not had such a good first half. Wolves and Brighton having a better second half. Burnley pretty much as they were. Brentford not having such a good second half either. So that is how the league table permutated out. This is how it finished up then. Predictions, media predictions, where we would finish 8th, finished 2nd. Manchester City were expected to win, and they did. Liverpool were expected to finish 3rd, and they did. Arsenal were expected to finish 2nd, finished 4th. Manchester United expected to finish 4th, finished 5th. Aston Villa did better than they were expected. They finished 6th, were expected to finish 9th. Crystal Palace expected to finish 11th, finished 7th. As far as the relegation was concerned, Burnley was expected to go down in 19th and did. Norwich were expected to finish 20th, but actually managed to avoid relegation. They finished in 17th place. Brighton were expected to finish 14th and actually finished 20th. The other team that expected to go down was Nottingham Forest, but actually finished 11th by virtue, as we've already established, of that first half of the season. So they did extremely well there. So that's how it all ended. One thing we will have a look at, if we just go to here, we'll have a look and see who's coming up from the Championship. Sunderland were promoted via the playoffs, so you probably saw that from that last screen. A 2-1 extra time win over Stoke City, putting them back into the Premier League. Southampton and Luton promoted automatically. Southampton champions on 103 points. Did it extremely well. And Luton Town having a good run, finishing 5 points clear of Stoke in 3rd in the Championship. Bristol City, Preston and Sheffield Wednesday all getting relegated from the Championship. That's not good, is it? Right, let's go and have a look at the schedule then, and have a look at who will be playing first in the new season. So here we are then. This is the new season as it will be. And we open up against Liverpool at Anfield. Beat them 2-0 at Anfield last season. Can we go and do it again? We've not had a bad time against them. Played them 6 times. Lost to them twice in the Europa League quarter-final, second leg. I think we ended up losing that, getting knocked out on that quarter-final, didn't we, because of Liverpool, and then lost to them at Anfield. But beat them at Anfield last season. Only managed a 1-1 draw, which was that one that had we won that game would have effectively, as we didn't know at the time, would have won us the Premier League for the season, but didn't. So we open against Liverpool. And then we face Norwich, who were literally on trapdoor last season, could have dropped through and missed out. And then we've got an away game against Manchester City. It doesn't get easy, does it? So opening episode is going to be Liverpool, Norwich, and then we're probably going to come back for possibly Aston Villa and the Carabao Cup 3rd round, I'm thinking. Or maybe Carabao Cup 3rd round and Leeds United. We'll see how that permutates out, just in case things change before now and at the kick-off of the season. Christmas time, we play Sunderland away on Boxing Day. That's a nice trip for us. And then New Year's Day, we've got Norwich on the return game. And there's obviously FA Cup 3rd round. And we close the season as we did last season against Arsenal at the Emirates. We won it this year, or last season. Can we win it again this season? And will it come down to pretty much last day need to do again? The run-in doesn't look quite so bad this year. Bournemouth, Southampton and Sunderland on our run-in. Definitely a little bit easier. I think last season, Manchester United, Liverpool and so on and so forth was not the best of run-ins, let's face it. To the end of the season. So that is how it is looking. 1st of July. Let's have a quick look. Is there anything happening in the transfer window? No, basically. We have had a couple of outgoings. Daniel Rigg has gone to Bradford City on loan for the season. Davina Mubama, who was breaking into the side, he's gone to Leeds United for £5 million. We've let him go, so disappointed there. Saeed Benrahma has gone to Brighton for £11 million, and Mason Terry has gone to Hibernian on a freebie. So they are the players going out. Nobody coming in as yet, which is a little bit of a worry, I would say. We definitely need to do a bit of gap filling, and we've got a couple of players that want to leave. Dynamics, as we see, Paqueta is playing in a weak position. Fennels wants to leave. Raul de Thomas wants to leave. Mavropanos wants to leave. And Mohamed Kudus wants a new deal. We'll talk to him in due course about that deal. It's a bit of a mixed bunch as to what we need to do and what we need to achieve to get there. As you'll see, we are in the process of trying to bring in a new goalkeeper, Anatoly Trubin, who's coming in from Benfica. I'm hoping that he will do good because we desperately need to shore up that defence, because conceding goals like we were, want to be able to get to a point where we can get a lead and then batten down the hatches and not concede goals. That's the ideal of what we'd like to do. Right, nothing more to tell you at this stage. I think what we'll do is we'll have a new season 25-26 preview, a roundup on the transfers as of the 1st of August. You join us on the 1st of August. We've played a couple of friendlies, those early friendlies in Austria where we're doing a training camp, a 7-1 win over Union Girton, and SV Grodig, we beat them 7-0. So they are two quite good results. Transfers-wise, let's have a quick look, see what's going on. We've brought in some players. Anatoly Trubin, who we mentioned just now, he has come in 44 million, raising to 46.5 million. He's coming from Benfica. He's Ukrainian. He's currently 4-star current ability, 4-star potential ability, 24 years old. I think he could do. He's better than Mazulia, better than Areola. So we're looking, we've got a good thing there. His value's gone up to 75 to 93 million as well. So quite pleased with that. He's with us until 2030. So 5-year contract, nice long contract. So we'll be looking for him to do great things. His aerial reach is 18, handling 16, reflex is 16, anticipation 16, positioning 16, agility 16. His jumping reach is 19. He's 6'6". To goodness me. I think definitely an upgrade as far as goalkeepers are concerned. Trubin in then. We've also brought in Joe Gomez from Liverpool, 80 million, rising to 90 million pounds. He can play anywhere across that back. Can play left or right. Just as good on either side. He can also play in that central defensive position as well. 28 years old. He's English, which helps with our balancing up of the squad and what have you in the rules and what have you. We've paid that 90 million for him, but he's between 131 and 175 million if anybody wants to buy him now. 3.5-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability. Again, I think realistically should only, unless we're bringing one in for the future and on a cheap, but otherwise only bringing in players that are really going to replace and improve the squad. Gomez is better than Vagaman. He's better than Parisi. He's a good replacement. Joe Gomez, let's hope he can do the stuff. He's crossing. He's fantastic. He's got good at long throws, good at marking. He's good at positioning. His acceleration is good. His agility is good. And his pace is good. So his physicals are very good. So we'll see how he does overall. But I'm hoping that he can do stuff for us. Joe Gomez in from Liverpool. And our final coming in for the moment, Martin Vidic, coming from Sparta Prague, £15 million. He is a central defender, so we've got another central defender in there. His first touch is good. His positioning is good. His acceleration is good. His strength is good. He's 6'4", so his heading's not brilliant, but he's 15 and 15 on jumping reach. Again, he's better than what we've got already in the centre of defence there. Todibo and Gomez, the other players. He's as good as Jean-Claire Todibo. So, again, gives us options. He can also play as a defensive midfielder as well. Probably not quite so good, but we can use him in that position if we want to. So it does give us gives us options. So he's come in. He's worth 56 to 63 million. So a bargain, I think, at 15 million. A good purchase there. Going out, we got to Mason Terry. Callum Marshall, he's gone out on loan for the season to Wickham, along with Sean Moore. They've both gone to Wickham. Andy Irving's been sold to Rapid Vienna for 7.75 million. Lewis Orford has gone on loan to Stevenage. Heggie has gone to Brassica for £750. I could have paid for that. And Konstantinos Mavropanos has gone to Real Madrid for £16 million. He wanted to leave. He's gone. So that is one off our books and helps with the dynamics a little bit. We've got Paquetas playing in a weak position. Fernels wants to leave. De Thomas wants to leave. And Friedel feels he's at the moment he's not in the Premier League squad. That's because of the balancing of the rules and regulations. Hopefully we will get him in before the deadline comes along. I'm sure we'll have a couple of players that may be transferred out, which will do us. So we're 100 million in deficit at the moment. Another 139 million transfers in, 35 million going out. We need a big money going out, really. But I can't see anything happening on that front in the very near time. Right, so we're going to jump forward literally to the start of the season. We're going to come back for our final look. We're going to have a preview of the new season, 25-26. The one thing I just remembered we didn't do was looked how our season had progressed. We may do that as well when we come back. Well, I did promise you a quick look at how our season had progressed. And as you'll see, we never went any lower than 6th all season. We were 6th after the game against Tottenham, a 2-0 loss. I think in that game, match day 11 and then match day 13 after a 1-0 loss to Aston Villa. We were down in 6th again, but we managed to climb ourselves back up. Spent a bit of time. It didn't really happen for us until the 32nd game of the season against Leicester, when we ascended back up to 2nd place. But that's how our season went. Manchester City, as we'll see, started off, climbed up, hit the top after 11 matches, and effectively stayed there for the rest of the season. A 5-1 win against Burnley got them on top of the table. Liverpool, they were quite lowly down at 13th at one point. And spent quite a bit of time in 4th spot before climbing up to 3rd right at the end of the season there. Arsenal, they went as high as 2nd and as low as 15th early part of the season. They had a bit of a torrid start to the season, then seemed to pick up a bit of form around about here. Match day 8 started to pick up and then climbed up and dropped right at the end down to 4th place. Manchester United, they had pretty much matching us. It's sort of like didn't go any lower than 8th. Pretty steady season in 5th place. Did touch the top once about 3 games in. So they had it. Chelsea, we did say, touched down here. Look, 14th at one point. That was their low spot. But managed to climb themselves back up to an 8th place. But started the season reasonably well, then dropped away very rapidly. And not having a great time. Burnley along the bottom, Brighton along the bottom, and Wolves never really. They had a good start of the season, didn't sort of like dropped away, and once they dropped away, never really hauled themselves back up again. Nottingham Forest was the other side, as you see. Their season, as you see, first half of the season they were bubbling around, and then it sort of all fell away a little bit. But that's how the season's progressed. We'll jump now just to have a look at this pre-season preview. And here we are, 9th of August is the date on the screen, and no more ins, but we have had a couple of going outs. Mavropanos last out. Alphonse Areola has gone out to Aston Villa on loan. They do have an option to buy. In fact, they're going to buy him for 11.25 million. In the future. So our Areola has left us. We've got too many goalkeepers, and I couldn't really see him. He was down the pecking order, so he wanted to go. We've let him go, and we've managed to move on. Pablo Fernels to Getafe. He's gone on loan, but there is an option, I think, in there. We'll just check that. I think Is there an option to buy? There is an option to buy for 14 million, but that is optional. So he might not go as it is. And we're still having trouble moving on. Who are we trying to move on? Dynamics is what we want. Trying to move on. De Thomas, of course, wants to leave due to being left out of the Premier League squad. Friedel, we still need to fit him in somehow. So we've reduced the dynamics somewhat, got that bit back in straight. So we've finished our friendly campaign. Drew one and lost one right at the end there. Napoli, a 1-1 draw and a 1-0 loss against Eintracht Frankfurt. Bit of a poor mediocre. Didn't quite perform as I expected as we did in early friendly season. So that didn't quite permutate itself out as I had hoped. Season preview. This is how it's looking. Do we have any players? No. Salah, Haaland, Silva, Foden, Odegaard, Rashford, Coyote. We did try and bring Coyote in, but he ended up going to Manchester United. Diaz, Rodri and Gavadio are the players in there. Edison, of course, Manchester City. So predominantly a Manchester City squad, which is rather annoying. We do have Samadic, Trubin as key players, but that is pretty much it. We are expected to finish 7th, 20-1 to win the championship. Manchester City are odds on 7-4. Liverpool 2nd, 4-1. Arsenal 3rd, 13-2. And then come Newcastle 7-1. That's a surprise. Manchester United 11-1. Chelsea 20-1. And then ourselves, of course, in 7th place. Relegation-wise, Southampton expected to stay up. Luton Town and Sunderland expected to go straight back down, along with Norwich, who managed to avoid last season. So they are the teams that are expected to go down. Right, I don't think there's a great deal else to tell you on this transfer special. We'll bring you up to date with any transfers and movement that happens between now and those first games of the season. But we are going to come back for our opening 2 games in the Premier League. Liverpool at Anfield. Can we get a result against them this season? And then we'll be welcoming Norwich for our first home game of the season at the London Stadium. Be looking forward to that. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, don't forget to leave me that big thumbs up. Subscribe. Hit the notification button. That keeps you up to date with all future episodes of Irons in the Fire and our other series, bottom to the top, as they are released. New episodes of Irons in the Fire released every Monday and Thursday at 4:15 p.m. You can leave me a comment, but you can also follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at JustOffsideFM. And we'll hope to see you for the next episode. It'll be episode 51. It's our new and final season here at West Ham. Irons in the Fire has 1 season to go. Can we win some silverware to make West Ham good and great again? See you next time. Bye-bye.